What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We are here for our pre-match show for Liverpool versus Wolves coming at us tomorrow on Monday. As always, we are your hosts, Stephen Wahomey, and today for our special guest, we brought on he has his own YouTube channel called Anfield Bloodline. Make sure you check it out. His name is Adisi. Adisi, thanks so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you guys doing too? Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, anytime. Always glad to help somebody in the LFC family, and super pumped to have you on and get your opinions on the team. But, Wahomey, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Still living off the high of the Leipzig game. So I was obviously just seeing the scores today. So thinking that a slight jaw's been open for us. So to see if we can take it tomorrow.
Yes, it'd be absolutely awesome to take it tomorrow. We've been saying it for a long time. This team really needs to be able to string some good performances together. So hopefully this can be the game for us to do it. I think based on what we're seeing from Wolves right now, I think we're probably playing them at a really good time. They've come into this game only winning one of their last 6 games. I think they're coming off a loss to City and a draw to Newcastle. Adisi, I'm really interested to get your opinion on Wolves' season so far. What do you think of them as a team this year?
Based on current standards in which they've set up for themselves, I think that this season is like below par. Injuries to key players and also key players not performing up to expectations as well. And I think the sale of Jota has actually affected their season, in all honesty, because I think he got about 16 goals last season for them, and all of a sudden you lose that kind of player to Liverpool. And you also lose your key man in presence of Jimenez, and also your other key man in presence of Traore has not been, producing anything so far this season. So it's a below standard season in their own standard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think when it comes to the injuries, like very similar to Liverpool's season, they've lost a lot of key guys, and I think you made a good point there about Jota. Obviously, he was great for us to start the season, and especially with Podence out. No, they're really missing another guy like that. Neto has been great, but Traore, like you said, completely down. I still don't think he has a goal or assist in the Premier League. But it's absolutely bonkers, absolutely crazy. But Wahomey, what do you think of Wolves as a team? Because I'm also pretty disappointed in their season so far.
Yeah, I think after last season, you expected Wolves to push on, but like Adesi said, like they've suffer from injuries, like obviously Jimenez being out for so long, because obviously he's like their focal point. So without him there, they're having to play, Neto and Traore and sometimes Prudence when he was there, and try and score from them. And obviously, it's a big loss. Like Jimenez was huge for them. So I think that's kind of affected them because they don't have a striker, and then also they've not been that strong this year at home. I think they've been better away from home. I think Wolves overall will be a bit disappointed by how the season's gone. Especially, after last season we thought, that they could push on. And I do agree. Although Jota probably wasn't playing as much at Wolves, he was still like a key option for them off the bench to come and score goals. So I think that also has helped them. So I think with Wolves, obviously it's still going to be a tricky game regardless of the form, because we're not in amazing form either. But I think them not having Jimenez is a huge plus for us going into this game, because we're not going to have to deal with any kind of aerial threat.
Yeah, completely agree. Aliaka in the chat, welcome. Good to see you, Chris Welch. We love you guys. Thanks so much for joining. But Chris Welch, yeah, we completely agree. I mean, I think Jimenez and Johnny injuries haven't helped them much at all. And like you said, they are in for a tough game. But, homie, I think you made a good point. I mean, I
think someone's microphone.
I think it was Wahomey's. Interesting. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was weird. But sorry about that, everybody. That was something I've never seen before. So I apologize about that slight technical difficulty there. We'll get a DC back in here, man. Oh, I think it's his. I think it's him that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's your mic, DC. You might be able to do it without headphones.
Oh, there we go. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry about that technical difficulty. But yeah, Chris Welch, like you said, perfect way to start the show. Hopefully the game starts a little bit better than this than this show did. But no, I completely agree. I think that the Johnny injuries and the Jimenez injuries definitely haven't helped them out too much. But also, when you think about some of the best atmospheres in the Premier League, Wolverhampton would have to be up there. They always have a good home crowd, very loud crowd. So I think they are another team, like Liverpool, that, I mean, everyone's missing the fans, but I think our two teams, especially at home, rely on the fans to carry us at times. So I think they're probably missing a lot of that as well. But, well, homie, I know there's one player that you're very high of at Wolves. Who are a couple of players on that team that you think could potentially cause some problems for us tomorrow?
Also, I think Neto is a very good player. I think he's really technical, and he's good at taking on players and scoring goals. And I think he's the player that I would love at Liverpool. I don't think we'll get him because I think obviously Wolves will be loath to sell him after we took Jota off them. But I think he was good. I've always liked what's his name? Who's the midfielder they got? The Portuguese guy.
Well, they have three. They have three good ones. They have Ruben Neves.
Neves, that's it. Yeah, not Martinho. Neves. Yeah, I think Adesi, you need to do something with your headphones because that's where the signals come. The thing is, I think Neves is someone I've always liked. I thought he was very good when he was in Portugal at Porto. I don't think obviously he would ever end up at Liverpool because I think his fee is too high. But I think he's a very good technical player. And obviously, obviously, I wasn't the biggest fan of Torre, but he can be. I wouldn't want him at Liverpool, but he can be good when he wants to be on his day. He is a handful. But obviously, I think, as I said before, Torre's not been good this year. So he's struggled, and sometimes even struggled to get game time. But I think for me, with Neto and Neves, the ones who I think we need to watch out for. We need to ensure that obviously Neto hasn't got space to run into to take on players, and we need to ensure that Neves is pressed. He hasn't got time to dictate the tempo of the game.
Mm-hmm. DC, what do you think? Obviously Neto is one of the good guys there. Traore's having an off season. Who do you think are some some players that we need to keep an eye on in the game tomorrow? Odessa, can you hear us?
I think he's frozen.
Okay. I'm drop out. He'll come back in. But yeah, I think Aliaka here's a really good point. Wolves are a dangerous side. Pedro Neto and Raul Moutinho and Ruben Neves as well will be putting in a shift. We need to be aware of this. Yeah, the Nat Ozan won't put a foot wrong. Yeah, we got to hope about that because it's weird because they do play five. They play three in the back with two right wing backs. So right wing, left wing back. So I am kind of concerned about that setup for us breaking it down. And if we do turn the ball over in the midfield, they are talented enough in there to cause problems for us. And I think we're lucky that a guy like Podence isn't available. Obviously, Neto's having a hell of a season as well. But I think Podence would have caused a lot more problems too if he was able to be in the game. But I think the midfield three for them of Neves, I think it's like Donkner is his name, and then Ruben Neves and Moutinho. Those guys, I think they can definitely cause problems for us. So thank God that we have Fabinho back in the midfield.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think the key for us in this game is to ensure that Neves, like I said, isn't able to dictate tempo of the game, and also just to ensure that we don't give any silly free kicks because Neves, he hasn't scored that many free kicks, but he is very strong at free kicks when he does when you give him a chance. I think the key is to kind of stop that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, this game is going to be an absolutely massive game for us. We have, especially because the results so far this season. So we've seen today, Man United just beat West Ham. So West Ham just dropped points. Chelsea dropped points with a draw. I mean, this could be a huge game for us. We'd be 5 points within Chelsea for fourth place. I mean, if we get a win tomorrow, do you think top four is still a shot?
I think for me, I think it basically depends on if we can win a string of games, because obviously we've got Wolves and then Arsenal next. Those aren't going to be easy games. Obviously, we saw Arsenal win today. They're going to be a good team at the Emirates. So it's kind of like we have to win today and then go on a run. That's the key thing. For me, like, can we turn our Champions League form? Because I think what I noticed, obviously, when we play the Champions League, there seems to be a hunger and determination from the players. I saw recent comments, for example, like Mane saying again how we want to get top four, but the priority is to win the Champions League. We want to win against the best. I think that was the tweet I saw. Mm-hmm. I think obviously that wide out the mentality. Yeah, I want to win the Champions League, but at the same time, I still want to make sure we get Champions League football. So I think for me, the key is, can we translate that kind of form and actually go into this game tomorrow with energy and hunger and press, or are we going to see the same laboured kind of performance we had for Liverpool in the Premiership? Mm-hmm. So if we can string a couple of wins, then we get if we were to get back-to-back wins against Wolves and Arsenal, then you're like, okay, you're great. You've got like this flow of momentum, because then you can start going to run. And Chelsea still have, 5 games is a lot. Chelsea still got tough games to come up, where they are going to play against, other top teams. They still got to play City. I think they've still got Spurs. They've still got Leicester. So they've still got tough games where they could drop points. So 5 points could be easily turned around, but it's just, it all comes down to us. Can we string some wins? We can't string some wins. So if we don't win tomorrow, then top four's probably has the door shut fully. So it's us to kind of take advantage of it.
DC, what do you think on that? Do you agree that tomorrow's a must-win for our top 4 hopes?
Okay.
Yeah, I think your signal is gone, mate.
Yeah.
We can hear you, but your screen's frozen and you're breaking up quite a lot.
I don't know my connection. I don't know.
Yeah, you're breaking up quite a bit, mate.
We're gonna pull you for now. If we can get that corrected, we'll get you back in here. But I mean, I think you're 100% right. I mean, I think we still have 9. If after the game tomorrow, we should still have, I think, 9 games left to play in the season. There's plenty of time for Chelsea to drop more points. West Ham, Everton, all those guys, like everyone ahead of us can drop points. And I mean, we even saw United hasn't been playing great either. Like, Leicester put in a good performance today, but anything can happen. It's a weird season. And I think as long as we can get a win tomorrow, and like you said, we haven't strung any performances together since December. We haven't really had 2 or 3 straight games of playing well. So if I can see us do that and we can start doing that tomorrow and like go get a statement win, I think that'd be massive for this team, especially knowing that we have no midweek game this week. Don't we have a nice long break until the weekend as well?
Yeah, I think that's the whole point. Like, we have to go out there and actually show our hunger that we actually want to win. They actually are still in this top 4 race, because that's been a massive issue for us. Like, not us being able to show the same intensity and pressing as we do in the Champions League, in the Premiership. So for me, it's kind of like, are we going to come out the blocks fast with a hunger to try and press Wolves and control the game? Or are we going to come out and allow Wolves to dictate it and be really slow in terms of coming out the blocks? Because sometimes I feel that obviously this season we've not always been the quickest outside the blocks, or last year we were quite quick outside the blocks. So for me, it's always going to determine like how we are in the first 10 minutes. Because
Yep.
I think Wolves are there to be beaten. Like I said, they haven't been in amazing form, and I think that yes, obviously there's going to be questions mark in terms of how does Quebec and Phillips handle, because obviously I think Wolves have got pace up top. So if they play Traore, Neto, they've got pace, and we'll play a high line. They're going to be question marks there to see, that's going to really test them. But I feel that, we've seen before that, Wolves aren't the strongest in defence. And Connor Cody hasn't mistaken him. So we saw that in the first leg. At Anfield, he had a mistake. So if we can be clinical and be hungry, then we can get a win.
Yeah, I mean, some people in chat here. Chris Welsh thinks that top four is still a big ask. We need to go on a big run. I think big ask. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of we put ourselves in this position, unfortunately. But Aliaka here, she thinks that they think that everything's still on. So I 100% agree. I think there's nothing's done yet in this crazy season. Nothing's done until it's over. But ultimately, kind of going back into the game, one of the key things that I'm watching is how Kabak and Phillips do in this game, because they're going to be going up against some pace up there with Traore obviously on the wing, Neto on the wing. So I really want to see how they do. But what do you think, Wahomie? Who are you keeping an eye on? How do you think they're going to play tomorrow against these guys?
Well, I think it's going to be more of a challenge, because obviously, I got the excitement that people had after the Leipzig game, and obviously I felt in that game that Poulsen wasn't really troubling them in terms of, he had no pace. Obviously there was a few times where they got behind us, but I think overall, it was Leipzig were quite poor in terms of trying to get the win out of that game. I think Wolves, it's going to be more of a test, because I think if they do play Traore, then they are potentially going to cause us problems. Because I think when we have played Wolves in the past, they have caused us problems even when we had Van Dijk and Gomez on the break. Because they are fast up top, so it's going to be a massive challenge for them. And I think the main thing for me in this game is I've questioned Kabak's concentration. I think a lot of times he gets caught ball watching, and I also feel that sometimes with Kabak and Phillips, they're not in unison when they're pushing up. Sometimes when one pushes up, the other one's dropped off. So the communication there at times as well isn't the best. So this is going to be a massive challenge for them, and it's going to tell me how good they are as a partnership, because it's going to be against teams that have pace up top and a good forward line that challenge them, not against teams where realistically they're just going to lump the ball up top, because I think Phillips can eat that all day, and I think Kabak's going to. But it's going to be against pacey forwards or forwards that are good in tight spaces. Those kind of that are going to hang on the shoulder of the defender and try to run it behind. It's going to be those kind of games. So tomorrow, it's going to be a big test for me to see how good they are as a partnership. Obviously, going to be more tests after that, but I think that's what I'm looking at. Do they have the concentration and the ability? Because tomorrow, Phillips is not going to get loads of balls pumped at the field for him to head away. It's going to be all on the deck, in the channels. And it's going to be balls over the top for, to try and get behind. So we're going to see how good is he at dealing with that. Because obviously there are times when, even the Sheffield United game, where he got burned for pace. And if Sheffield United were just better finishing, had better forwards, we could be punishing those games. So for me, that's going to be the thing for me, to see how good they are in terms of the communication and them holding a high press, reading, doing the offside, how good they are at pushing up to catch people offside, and then also how good are they, when you are being run at, of defending those situations. So I just hope that we continue with them, Phillips and Kabak, to build a partnership, and we don't put Fabinho back there.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen though, because Klopp came out and said that he hopes to see Kabak and Phillips be a long-term partnership for the rest of the season. Excuse me. So I think that's definitely going to be those two guys, and I think he wants these two guys to start getting some chemistry now that we've seen that they can be good together. So I think it's going to be really important that they both play with Fabinho in front of them and start getting comfortable with that security again and getting more comfortable with that. Because if we can get another good performance with this kind of middle three as our spine in the back there, I think it's just going to, give us much more confidence and kind of for the first time all season have confidence back there that we can play good football and also still still get 3 points as well, because we haven't been able to do that since December. So I think if we can finally do that, again, we'll get a little bit more of a rest this week, and then we also have the international break again. So then I think there's no reason why we can't just make a massive push that we need. Like Chris Welch, I think, said in the chat that he thinks we need to win 9 games. I mean, I think we can definitely do that with what we have on the schedule.
I think that was Zane who said that. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I do think it is going to run, and on paper, like I said before, like our running is much more easier than the others teams, like than Chelsea's, West Ham's. And I think realistically now, I think probably Leicester. I think Leicester might be a bit safe, but I still think even then they've still got hard games coming up where they could drop points, and I think they will still drop points. So for me, again, it's just, can we put a run in? Can we? Because one thing we haven't done is done back-to-back wins in ages. I can't remember the last time we won 2 games in the bounce. Can we do that? Can we do that? Beat Wolves and then go to Arsenal, beat Arsenal. And I can't remember after Arsenal, because if we can win those 2 big games, those 2 huge away games, then the confidence can be sky high in the team. And then you're just going to know, okay, well, look, we just won these 2 huge away games, and we can now go on a run. So.
But I kind of feel like, though, like we've been better on the road all season. Like, so, like, I know it's like 2 big road games, but like I want to see us do these good performances at home as well.
Well, I think at home is
on the road this year, and like, why do you think that?
Yeah, I think one thing obviously for us is having no fans at Anfield has hurt, because obviously you saw when we beat Spurs early on in the season, we won 2-1. How even just having, what was it, like 2,000 fans in the stands was like a huge energy boost for loads of players. And obviously some of our players, as we said before, are performers like Bobby. They love a crowd there to perform in front of. So I think not having fans has hurt us big time, because I think I saw a stat where it showed that who's been hurt the most in terms of having no fans in terms of points lost. I think we were the worst team for points lost at home. But I think away from home is the fact that maybe, at home, we're playing at home, teams come to Anfield to defend. If they can nick a goal, that's the mentality. They're not going there to win it. So away from home, teams can't play defensive in front of their own stadium, in front of their own fans. So they have to come at us and leave space. I think obviously when teams leave space against us, we still got good players enough to take chances and create chances and score goals. I think that's the difference. And also I think Anfield's become like a burden for us this season. Obviously when you're away from home, there's less pressure because you're not at Anfield. Even there's no fans there, you're not at Anfield, and you feel like we can play away. That's why we won, twice in the Champions League, because Liverpool played with no pressure, because it's not Anfield. If that Leipzig game had been at Anfield, with no fans, I would have been a bit more worried about us going through, because I would have thought, okay, we've seen how we are. But I think away from home, we feel there's less, the burden's off our shoulders. So I think that's kind of been the key thing for us, is the fact that, away from home, teams are more open, they come to attack us. So I think Wolves will attack us tomorrow because they're the home team. And that gives us space, to create chances against teams. But I think just being at Anfield has not helped us, and that burden has been huge on us, because obviously we went from having an imperious record at Anfield to then having an awful record at Anfield, and that's a lot of pressure on the players.
Yeah, and I just feel like we didn't realize, maybe some people didn't realize like how big the Anfield effect was in terms of the crowd, because I think sometimes, especially when you're having a down performance, when nothing's gone right for you for 60 minutes, but the crowd just gets behind you and just, absolutely can just change the game. Either raise your ability up or just get in the head of the other team. And I think again, like we always talk about, like we have a lot of performers on this team. Like Bobby Firmino, is a 100% performer. I would say Mane too is probably a little bit of a performer and just is better with the crowd. So yeah, I think that's probably been the biggest thing. And then going on the road, like you said, is not having that same pressure and like having to lift your ability, knowing that you're not going to have the crowd behind you because you're already expecting not to have the crowd behind you. So I think that does just kind of play a small mental aspect there. But to get to some of the comments in the chat here, Zane here had an interesting thought that moving Mane to the middle because his shooting hasn't been good at all, but his passing's been immense. What do you think about a move like that?
Mane's middle. I think I would agree. Mane has been poor. Not going to deny that. But I think I'm hoping that the goal against Leipzig gives him some kind of confidence, and it's kind of like the turning point for him, because he did show good movement to get on the end of David's cross. So I'm hoping that kind of like gives him some kind of confidence, because obviously for Wolves tomorrow, I'd still have Jota in the middle and Mane out wide. But it is something to try if you want to change it up. We have seen Mane play through the middle before, but I think the thing is, if you move Mane in the middle, I think you miss that link up with Robbo, and I think it affects Robertson because I don't think Jota, as good as he's been, I think Jota's better through the middle rather than him in the flanks because I don't think he has the same chemistry with Robertson. I think Robertson gets effective with Mane's two mid central, so I probably would still have Mane on the wide, because I think tomorrow's a good chance again to counter attack and hit Wolves on the break. So that's why I would have Jota, Salah, Mane because their pace in the break will cause Wolves problem, and that's how I'd go.
I mean, I think for me, when it comes to those three playing up top, I would just love to see them be more fluid. So, I mean, I don't care where they start, but I would just love to see them not be afraid to, mix it up, have Salah go into the middle at times and put Mane out on the right, Jota on the left, and just have them move just throughout the game and just cause different looks at different times and just see how you can just cause problems for that back three, back five they're going to play at times. Because I think if they just keep moving, that's going to open up passing lanes. It's going to make the Wolves defenders always have to look behind them, look to their left instead of looking at what's in front of them. And I think that can just cause a lot of problems. And when we were playing well, when Jota played, at the start of the season, we did see some of that. We did see some movement between either two of them at times or all three of them moving and changing position. So I think this could be a really good opportunity, especially with having three in the back. And there's going to be those holes all the way at each wing. So if Thiago, we can find his ball early, have him hit a long ball into those spots, I think we can definitely find some opportunities to make some plays against this team.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And I think also the one good thing in the Leipzig game was we created chances, which we hadn't done for quite a while. We were creating chances. So if you can do the same again against Wolves, create those chances from open play, then we should hopefully score these chances. So that's the key thing. I think that's a massive turning point for me. And I think going in with the Anfield thing as well, I feel that if we had played Fabinho and Henderson midfield, I think we'd have different results in a lot of those games at home, or even just one of them. If we had played Fabinho midfield, I think a lot of the games would have turned out differently at Anfield. Because I think as well at Anfield is the fact that we probably were never really controlling the games in those games, or dictating the tempo of the game. And I think teams will come to Anfield knowing they could counter us and walk through our midfield. So I think Fabinho in there would have made a difference. So I think that's the one thing as well. Like if we go back to Anfield and we play Fabinho midfield, I think we'll see a different performance in those games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Zane has a good point. That it's different opposition. We created chances because they were so open to attack. This game is going to be different. Yeah, 100% a good point, right? I mean, that was the advantage of going into that second leg, knowing that Leipzig had to go get 2 or 3 goals for this to be a contest. So they're definitely, like you said, they're definitely going to sit back more, and we have that has caused some problems for us, especially this season. But I mean, I think going into that, and kind of what I wanted to talk about next is, I think this game could be a good game for a guy like Naby Keita to get some minutes with Thiago and Fabinho in the midfield, because I think that it is going to be tough at times to create opportunities. I mean, what do you think? Do you think who do you think we're going to get obviously to the we'll do our lineup predictions and stuff, but do you think that we should see somebody a little bit more offensive, so maybe like a Keita or a Jones compared to Wijnaldum in that spot?
Yeah, I think I would be going with Fabinho, Keita, and Thiago tomorrow, because I think all three are very good tacklers. All three are very good at pressing, and all three, are very good at progressive forward passes. I think like in the Leipzig game, the stat was that I think in 10 minutes, Keita created the most chances of the game. That's ridiculous stats for him to be just play 10 minutes. So I feel like this is a great game for Keita to come in because he'd have the assurance of Fabinho and Thiago behind him and just allow him just to play as the furthest forward and just dictate the game and run the game. I think I would definitely play this because I think like you're going to need them to break down a low block. I'll give Jenny a rest because I think he's played a lot of football.
Yes,
and just give him a rest. I wouldn't play Jones. I would prefer those three because I think those three are going to offer just a bit more experience and more guile. So for me, I definitely would go with Fabinho, Keita, and Thiago tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what I would like to see too. I really hope for that. I mean, Zane again makes another good point. Maybe Keita, Genie, just for the defensive side, and you can rest Thiago. I can also see him going with Milner and Keita. Wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, with Klopp, I wouldn't be surprised anytime I see Milner in the lineup. It's just like, okay, maybe he's feeling that. But what would you think about giving Thiago a rest in a game like tomorrow? Because I actually think a game like tomorrow would be a perfect game for Thiago. Because I think when you play against three in the back, if you can find that spot all the way out on the wings where that opening is, that can create some good chances for Mane, Salah, Jota, whoever's out there.
No, I feel because obviously you're playing Coutinho, Neves, and a couple of the other guys. Who was sent me for his name off the top of the head right now. But I think like because you're playing that, I think I would have Thiago playing tomorrow because I think you need creativity. Because Wolves are going to sit deep and try and counter at times. You need that creativity, someone who's going to create, and Ginny's not going to offer that creativity. I personally don't feel tomorrow is a game for Ginny. I don't think tomorrow is a game for Milner either. I don't see the need for Milner to be playing tomorrow at all. Maybe if you're winning and you're bringing Milner on the last 10 minutes of the game to see it out, fair enough. But I don't see the point of starting Milner tomorrow. He's not going to offer anything in terms of helping us get the victory tomorrow. This isn't a Milner of like 2 or 3 years ago that was full of energy, he can score goals still. This is like a really old Milner. So it wouldn't make sense. I would, if he was to dress him, I think you might see Fabinho, Keita, Jones.
Yeah.
But I would still prefer Fabinho, Thiago for my preference. Fabinho, Thiago, Keita. But I think Klopp might do that. But I'd definitely rest Gini purely because he needs a rest.
I completely think he's due for a rest for sure.
And plus I think Holland are going to play him loads over international break. So this is a great chance to just give him a rest and breather.
Well, didn't I see? I mean, Chris Welch brought this up. Are Liverpool players allowed to go on international break? I thought I did see something that Klopp was going to hold some guys back from going because the season was more important.
I think it's the Brazilian ones, and it was Alisson, Fabinho, Bobby, Jota. I think Salah and Mane that weren't going.
Yeah, it looks like on March 3rd, Klopp said that he was going to ban Liverpool players from internationals if they face a quarantine period, if they have to face quarantine coming back. So anyone that applies to will not be allowed to go.
Yeah, I think those are the Brazilians and the Portuguese one because they were playing in countries where they're in the red zone. So I don't think the English ones or Gini and stuff are going to be playing in places that require quarantine.
Yeah, so if that happens, then they'll be all set. Yeah, but it sounds like I think at least the Brazilians won't be allowed to go because, like Zane said here, the clubs are allowed to stop players from leaving. So, but I thought Julian with his lineup here. Thanks for coming in, Julian. Appreciate you, man. But he was thinking about starting Tsimikas at left back, and I wanted to get your opinion on that because I saw, especially after his very quick cameo last game, everyone thought that he might be due to get some minutes. And when I think about Robinson, I think about one of the best players of the season for us so far. I think easily top three or four player for us in terms of consistent performances this season. But I think it is fair to say in the last couple weeks, or maybe last 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 games that he hasn't been up to his usual standard. Doesn't mean he's been bad, but he just hasn't been up to his usual standard, especially getting forwards and creating in the offensive zone. What would you think about potentially playing Tsimikas in a game like tomorrow?
I mean, I had this conversation with someone on Twitter yesterday, and I said I'd actually play Robbo but rest for the Arsenal game, because after Arsenal we've got like a few days and then it's the Champions League quarterfinals. But because obviously, I know Tsimikas, when he was at previously we joined Liverpool, he marked out Traore in a game last year.
Olympiacos, yep.
Yeah, Olympiacos, he marked out Traore in a game. But I think obviously he's just coming back for the minutes. Is it a risk to play him in this game against Traore or Neto? Potentially, but I could also see the arguments of giving Rob a rest, because he as well does need a rest, and he does look knackered. And also we've got like a big period after the national break coming up. So yeah, I wouldn't be against. I could see arguments in both. I wouldn't be against it if Klopp did play him to Tsimikas tomorrow. I wouldn't be against it, because I do think that Tsimikas is a good player.
I do too. I think he's definitely due. I think he's absolutely due.
Yeah, I just answered my Liverpool shirt's quite an old one. So I got this years ago, back in this is from before I think it was around 99, 2000 period. So it's an old jersey, but I think you can still buy them online if you look for retro or Liverpool shirts.
Do you think, though, are you worried at all about putting in a performance tomorrow after having a midweek Champions League game? Because we saw teams like, Tottenham, for example, they didn't look that great today, and they lost 2-1 to Arsenal. Do you have any concern over that, with just coming off a good performance against Leipzig, like maybe not having the same risk Wolves have and just going up against a little bit of a fresher team?
It's a concern for me, because, like I said before, it's just can we kind of translate our Champions League form in the Premiership? Because like I said before, when for example, the first Leipzig game, I saw much more intensity and hunger in that game that we played, and then we obviously played Chelsea. I think we played Fulham as well, and there was no intensity in our play. There's no aggression. There's no hunger. So obviously my concern, this game is because I said after the Chelsea game, are the players still up for the top 4, or are they thrown in? And I said that I felt that the players had thrown in top 4 with the Champions League, and I thought also Klopp as well had given up on the top 4. So I think for me it's kind of can we show that hunger? Is there going to be that zipping up passing and that an aggression? And I think obviously the key with that is having Fabinho in midfield. I keep saying it, but with him, because obviously his ability to break up play, dictate the tempo, and his forward progressive pass are going to be key for us in midfield. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that we do see a translation of the form, because otherwise, if we come out the blocks really slow and there's not that zip in our play, then it could be one of those long games where it ends up a draw or something, which doesn't serve us. So we have to be quick out the blocks and have that energy. So I do feel there is that concern in terms of translating our form. But tomorrow will be an example for me. If Liverpool are up really for the top 4 still, because we don't see the same energy and hunger we saw against Leipzig, then it says to me that we're going through the motion in the Premiership. We would happily have the season ended now and just focus on the Champions League. Then there's no pressure, there's no intensity in our play tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. I think a couple. You touched on a lot of good points there. The first point and the original point, I'm not too concerned about having the midweek game. If I'd actually be more concerned if we had a midweek game and didn't play well and did not win, then I'd be a little bit concerned going into this game. But I think our team's going to have some motivation to play well, and I think that this is a perfect leeway into the keys to us getting 3 points. And I think that you're 100% right. I think the first thing is we have to bring the energy and that hunger to want to get the first goal and put this game away early. Obviously I want to see us score, but more importantly, I just want to see us like come out and hit a team in the mouth and just show them like, oh, we're up for this game. And like, you're going to have to play your best football in order to get 3 points. And I think you're 100% right. We haven't seen that in a long time. It's been how long now since we saw Liverpool score a goal in the first half? I don't think it's happened I think it's only happened once this calendar year, and that was Firmino right before the end of the half against Tottenham. I think that was the only goal that we've scored in the first half. So something's got to change there. And I think if we do go out, get a goal in the first half, play strong in the first half, that's one thing I'm keeping an eye out for. But other than that, I think Liverpool gets 3 points. I think Liverpool gets 3 points if Jota, Mane, and Salah have good movement. I think that's one of the keys to the match. And then I also think that if Kabak and Phillips cannot make any mistakes defensively, I think if those two guys don't make any mistakes, the front three has very good movement up top, I think we're going to be very tough to beat.
Omar and Jimmy, no, I'm not dating Sophie. Sophie's engaged and, she's getting married soon. So no, and she's not always on the show. Sometimes she comes on as a host or in the audience. So, she's not on tonight. She's not on tonight. But no, thank you. We do have good chemistry, but we are not dating.
I'm glad you addressed that. I can't believe people actually thought that. All right, but overall, let's go with. So we kind of went with what you would do as the lineup. You and I completely agree that we'd both do Wijnaldum. I'm not Wijnaldum. Sorry, we do Fabinho, Thiago, and Keita as our midfield three with Jota, Mane, Salah up top, and then the back four. But what do you think Klopp's going to do? Do you think Klopp's going to do the same thing?
Oh no, I think Klopp will surprise us. I don't think it'll be the team that we will expect. So obviously, for example, as well, I never expected Fabinho back in the field. That surprised me, because I was thinking Klopp's not going to do that. So I think he'll surprise us. And I think we might not see both Thiago and Keita playing tomorrow. Because I do feel that he might feel that I need to give Jones a run out. So I think Klopp will surprise us tomorrow, and he might even play Bobby.
Well, Bob isn't Bobby still coming back from injury?
Well, I saw something today that Bobby's could be fit for the game.
Yeah, I think he's coming back from an injury. I think maybe he'll come off the bench if we do see him. I don't know if Klopp would risk him coming back too quick from. I think it was a knee injury, wasn't it? So I don't know if that's something that you want to bring somebody back too soon for. But yeah, I have a feeling that we'll still see Wijnaldum in there. I think it'll be the same. I think it's going to be the same exact team that we saw last game. Perfect, same exact lineup, same everything. Would love to see Tsimikas get more minutes because I do think Thiago needs a spell as well. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, before we get to our official predictions, like who do you think is going to be the key matchups? We kind of talked about things that we'll keep an eye out for, but in terms of individual battles, what are the battles that are going to decide if this is a win or a loss for us?
I think obviously if it's Robbo or Tsimikas versus Traore, I think obviously they will put him there, and I think last year he caused us a lot of problems. Traore, big time. Although we got the win, he caused a lot of problems. And Wolves looked really good against us last year. Then obviously I think on Trent's side, how Trent and Phillips, if it is them to deal with Neto, do they do and the combination there in terms of defenses there, because obviously we saw obviously that it was Fabinho and Trent, we saw against how Mason Mount troubled us. So kind of just for me, those are the key battles. And obviously for me, it's kind of obviously the midfield. Like I'm not going to put a particular midfielder, but it's just who wins the midfield battle. Is it our midfield or is it Wolves' midfield? Because if we can dominate in the midfield, then I think that's where the game's going to be won as well. Like, we control the game. and put Wolves under pressure straight away, and come out. Like I know you said, the fact that we haven't scored that many goals in the first half, I think that's obviously where it's going to be, like those two defence and winning that midfield battle.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of those. I can't really even add anything to that because I completely agree. I think for me, like I really need to see Mane and Salah play well in the same game, like in a Premier League game. Like I need to see both these guys be dangerous. And to kind of go back to your point earlier in this episode that you were mentioning how Mane's goal hopefully gets him confidence. I mean, I think the entire season his last touch has just been off. And I think that hopefully, that goal can give him some confidence. And now if he can start seeing that ball go in the back of the net again, back-to-back games, that could be absolutely massive for us. And then in terms of Salah, I just want to see him take over a game. Like I know he's been scoring a lot of goals. I just haven't seen him this season like just really take over and like just give him the ball and we're going to get a goal or an assist out of it. Like I just haven't had that same attitude about him. He hasn't been beating as many guys, I feel like. I mean, I'm not saying that he's been a bad player. Obviously, he's been one of our best players, but I just want to see him just like take over and have that just like that arrogance that nobody can touch him. And I just want to see that again from him because I feel like we haven't seen that version of Salah in a while.
Yeah, 100%. Farhan, if you're Klopp out, fair enough. All opinions are welcome. I don't agree with you, but I think that's a bold thing to say, Klopp out. But it's my mate, so don't worry. He's a Man United fan. Don't worry about him. Just I just realised, yeah. So he's a yeah. How you doing, Farhan? Yeah. So I agree with you. Yeah, I think for me the key in this game is is getting our forward line being clinical. I think that's the key thing today. Like, can they be clinical in terms of taking their chances? Because if we can do that, we can be more clinical in the way against Leipzig, then we'll win this game comfortably, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Because I think there will be chances for Jota, Mane, and Salah. It's just can be clinical. I think even with Jota, I thought like he could have had a hat trick against Leipzig, the chances he missed. So it was good to see him get those positions, but he could have had a hat trick. So hopefully he can have a better game tomorrow because it's going to be a big match for him tomorrow. Going home. So hopefully if he needs a goal. If he can grab a goal tomorrow, then it's going to light the fuse in Jota, and we're going to see the old Jota again.
Damn right. That's what I like to hear. All right, so let's get to it then. What's your official score for the match tomorrow, and who are your goal scorers?
I'm going to go 2-0 tomorrow, and I think goal scorers are going to be, I think Jota will score, and I think Salah gets a goal as well.
Okay. All right. I like that. I'm gonna say 3-1 Liverpool. I think we go put in the type of performance that we're looking for. I do think Neto is going to get one for them, and I think for us we'll see Salah get 2 and Mane get 1. So that's my official prediction. Hopefully both of us guys taking 3 points, 2 good performances back-to-back for the first time in a long time. So let's pray to God that happens. Everyone in the chat, we appreciate you guys for hanging out. Sorry about the technical difficulties we had at the beginning there, but I think we ended strong. We'll be back tomorrow immediately after the match for the post-match reactions. But otherwise, we appreciate you guys. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. But we'll see you all tomorrow. Up the Reds. And have a good night, everybody.
Reds.